We're boiling some leaves is what we're going to do now.
Leaves.
And here we have a little mini saucepan. Would you
not take up the entire frame?
I'll try not to. Would you like to put the leaves into the mini saucepan? I've got the saucepan is set up ready to boil, so we're actually going to boil these leaves. So we're just putting them in to the water, which is gradually heating up. You might be able to hear that. And put the lid back on. And so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be testing these leaves for starch. We showed you them in the preparation video, so you should have got your prep work done, got all your chemicals all ordered and arrived, and you should have some leaves available to yourself as well. So what I've done is I've just brought the saucepan of water with the 3 leaves in it to the boil. Do you know why we're doing that? Can you remember?
To boil the leaves.
Absolutely, to boil the leaves. Right, what does boiling the leaves do?
It breaks the wall, doesn't it?
That's right. So what it does is it damages the cell wall of the plant cells, and that's what we need to do because we've got green leaves there, and we're going to try and stain them with a biological stain, iodine, and this will stain the starch granules. It's an orangey brown colour normally, and what colour does it turn with the starch granules? Do you remember?
No.
Right, so what I'm going to do is we're going to demonstrate what iodine does with starch. That is a piece of starch. Trust me on that.
Sure.
It's what? What have I given you?
A piece of paper.
A piece of paper. Right, you're going to drip a couple of drops of the iodine solution onto that. You can see this one is great because it comes with a dropper. Not all of them come with a dropper. You might need to use your dropping pipette for that. Okay, so that's...
black.
Yeah, so you can see on the starchy paper, do you want to show the camera? What you can see here now is that as the starch and the iodine are reacting with one another, you can see that the starch is turning black. Now, we can test other things with the starch. For example, we could try something that isn't starch. So what have I got here?
Yeah.
Granulated sugar, yeah.
It stays brown.
It stays brown. Okay, right. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a third one to do.
The paper's really turned black. Is that
the paper has really turned
So
black,
is
and
that
that's
how they get black paper, or do they?
no, that's not how they get black paper. No, they do use dyes, and that is a dye, but it will stain your clothing. That's why we do wear aprons when we're doing the work, because we don't want to stain the clothing with the chemical stains. Okay, and try not to drip it on the counter too much because it will stain the counter too. Okay, see clear.
So we've got.
So you're going to show that to the camera.
Knockoff brown sugar. We've got black flour, black paper.
Brown colour is just totally the original colour of the iodine before it changes, before it does its colour change, and that's why you don't use a paper plate for this or a sheet of white paper to put your stuff on.
So that's what the iodine would normally look like, but that's the paper with starch and it's gone completely black.
Yeah, and that bottom one there is the flour, which shows us the starch as well. So we now know what we're looking for in terms of a reaction, because when we get these out now. The leaves have boiled. Now I turned the heat off, okay, so that we've just got, so the cooker now is switched off completely. Now what we're going to do is I'm just going to separate it out and give each leaf its own shot glass. So what we need to do is no, not the tweezers, because the tweezers can easily break a hole in the leaf. With the nice soft chopstick. So it's 1 leaf per shot glass. You can actually put all of your leaves in the same container. It's up to you. We're going to do 1 per shot glass.
Yeah.
The leaves can get quite delicate. Don't do this with spinach. Spinach just wipes out completely. You could use cabbage though if you wanted to, as long as it's a nice green leaf, outer leaf. So they don't have to be in any particular order when you get them in there. So what we're going to do now is put in some ethanol. Do you remember what the ethanol is for?
No.
Right, the ethanol has a number of jobs. Do you want to pour it in? Its main job though is for drawing out of those holes that you've just broken open using the boiling,
so it
the water,
draws out
the green colour, yeah. So now if you pop that into your pan of hot water without switching your ring on and just pop it over the still warm ring, leave it on the wall ring. Right, as you can see, the reason why we're using the shot glasses is because they don't really need an awful lot of alcohol in them
to cover the leaf.
To cover the leaf, which means that you don't have to use very much. Don't forget to put the lid back on alcohol immediately after you finish with it. And then I'm going to put the lid back on my pan.
And we're going to cut.
After our short interlude and our pitch invasion. What was the pitch invasion? Dad, what did Dad do?
Everything.
Yeah, he made coffee, he did dance, song routine. Yeah. Basically disturbed the whole thing. So, just to emphasise, no naked flames when you're doing this. None at all.
Yeah.
So once you've opened the lid of the bottle of alcohol and you've poured it into your little glass container that you're putting into your water bath, we call this a water bath, okay? Do not have any naked flames at all. And that includes parents coming in and doing untoward things in the kitchen with you, such as song and dance routines. So what have we got now? Now what you'll find is
they're solid.
Solid. So they've gone quite hard, haven't they? Now the cups, because it's been
smells of ethanol.
Yeah, everything smells of ethanol and boiled leaf. They're quite cool, but if you're a bit nervous about it, get parents, adults with more resistant fingers than you to get them out. So using the stick and your pair of, we'll go for the blunt nose tweezers, get them out and pop them into the warm water, and that'll soften the leaves back up again, because what happens is the ethanol has drawn out all the water from the inside of the leaf and dried it out completely. So when you put them into the warm water will soften them back up again, it'll rehydrate them. So this is a really important bit. If you don't put them into the warm water, you'll drip iodine solution onto them and the iodine solution will just literally pour off. It won't go inside, so you have to do that. Now, this green ethanol, good for absolutely nothing apart from drain cleaner. Right, so now the leaves are going to be quite soft and delicate, so you're going to have to lift them out ever so carefully and using the chopstick and the pair of tweezers and spread them out on your plate so they're one leaf thick in all places. And that ivy that you found, that variegated ivy, works quite well because it's quite a robust leaf.
But then it's not very variegated anymore.
Well, it won't be now because you've drawn all the green colour out. So the geranium leaves are nice because again they're fairly robust. One of the other types of leaves that we use a lot, if you can get hold of it, is Tridescantia, because that comes with green and white stripes up the leaves. You can also use spider plant leaves because they have the green and white stripes going up them too. The indoor plants are quite good because the leaves go white more easily. Are you struggling with that one?
Yes.
The leaves go white more easily because they're indoor plant leaves. Indoor plant leaves just tend to be a little bit less robust than outdoor plant leaves. You can see why I said you have to be careful because with the tweezers, because I've managed to poke 2 holes in it with that pair of tweezers. Now, quite often when you're doing this in the lab, you're doing it in a big rush and everything's still really hot. Now, we've had this going for quite a long time and just sat here in the kitchen for a little while whilst we had a coffee and tea break.
Now do we drip this stuff on it?
Yeah, so that now it's called flooding it with iodine solution. So
drowning it in iodine.
Yeah, but you don't have to be overly generous. You basically need to surround the whole leaf area with the iodine solution. So what I suggest we do is we go a little bit nearer the camera and maybe even change the camera angle so the camera's looking down on it. We've got a good camera angle here, so you'll be able to, I can hold the plate flat whilst you drip. There we go. Okay, no, that's enough, that's enough. As soon as you've got the leaf covered in the tincture of iodine, then it should...
You said drown it in iodine.
Well, it's called flooding it. You don't need to do the stem, by the way. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll just leave that there under the camera for a moment whilst the stain cures. That's plenty, thank you, because I might want to use my tincture of iodine again. In the lab, you call this iodine solution. Why do I refer to it as iodine solution and not just iodine?
Because it's not just iodine.
Absolutely. So do you know what state iodine would normally be?
Solid.
Yeah, it is. It's solid. Bromine's in the same group, isn't it? So you know
Yeah.
bromine. Bromine's one of my favourite chemicals because it does something called sublime.
Yeah, I like subliming.
Sublime. It's sublime. Ah, now that's interesting because you're starting to see with that one. The variegation is starting to show.
Yeah, that actually shows quite well. There was a lot more white than we were.
Than you were anticipating. That one there has got the has got a bit white in the mid, has got a bit not so stained in the middle. That was the one that was red in the middle, I think, and that was the plain green one.
And it just flops.
Yeah, they do. They get ever so delicate after you've treated them like this. We've now got a good result here, which we have rinsed off and put onto a clean plate. Looking at the variegated ivy that you got, there are some patches where the staining has definitely not gone completely black. You can see that it's just gone the browny colour in those places. Yeah. And those were the places it was white originally. If you're going to do this accurately, you can take a photograph of your leaf before you start and compare it to a leaf at the end.
But we have another one.
So we had this one, which I think was...
No, it had black in the middle.
Well, it was red if it was...
Yeah.
If the one had white, little tips of white around the edges, and it was brown. It was a darker red in the middle. The one that was like that.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's actually come out very well at all from doing that. But you do get this thing with the variegated leaves, is that it stains the black in the areas that it was originally green, and it stains brown in the areas where it was originally white. Now, you're going to have to think about what that means about how the leaf makes and stores its starch. Okay. And we will leave that thought with you and hope to see you next time.
Yeah.